Good evening, Packers fans. Aaron Nagler here with your post-game chat after preseason game one. More like a post-mortem after the Packers lay a gigantic egg at Lambeau Field against the New York Jets, dropping 30-10 from Aaron Glenn's crew. And hey, Aaron Glenn, shout out, man. You talk about trying to turn the page as a franchise, put your stamp on a new regime and a new approach and a new kind of attitude with their team. I thought the Jets played very well. They played clean ball for the most part. Obviously, a few penalties here and there, just like any other game. But when it comes to the fundamentals and execution and consistency, the Jets look to be the better team throughout the contest, whether it was the starters, backups, what have you. But that is the lens I think most people should look at this game through as far as where their programs are. Obviously, the Jets coming in with all new coaching staff, a new personnel group, and certainly trying to accomplish different things tonight. With the Packers, you saw a lot of vanilla. You saw a lot of mistakes. You saw a whole bunch of a lack of technique, no consistency at all. I mean, from the penalty on the opening kickoff, a holding call on special teams, to pre-snap penalties, to a bevy of holding calls from the offensive line, to multiple drop passes from your pass catchers. Talk about needing to clean a whole lot of stuff up. It was hard to watch. That was a very difficult game to get through as a fan. I mean, you go out, if you were there at Lambeau tonight, I'm so sorry. That was a tough one for Packers fans, no question about it. There are some, but amongst the doom and gloom, underneath the detritus, there were some notable, I'm not even going to say good or fun or exciting, but notable performances from a few guys. I thought after a bit of a rough start, the first couple snaps, I thought Nazir Stackhouse really settled in and played well, most particularly on that fourth down stop. I believe it was the second drive from the Jets. That was an outstanding play by not just Stackhouse, but a number of other guys. I thought Christian Welch played well, both on special teams and from scrimmage for the most part. I think you saw some really nice stuff from Baron Sorrell throughout the evening. I thought Kalen King had a number of really nice plays, but it's hard to take, much away from a lot of that game. I mean, especially once you get to the second half, it's mostly a lot of dudes who probably won't be on an NFL roster this year. So you naturally gravitate and look at what was happening in the first half. And man, almost to a guy, there was just not a whole lot that you can hang your hat on if you're Matt LaFleur and the Packers. And look, there's going to be a lot of talk, I have zero doubt, and rightfully so, about this preseason contest from the Packers standpoint, echoing a lot of the issues that this team had back in 2024. All the stuff we just talked about, I just mentioned here at the start, whether it was pre-snap penalties, whether it was holding calls, wiping things out or putting you in bad spots. I mean, so many dropped passes like we saw all last year. Really, really tough to get excited after watching that. Now, all of that said, there's a whole lot of ball game left. Do not forget, hell, last year, they went out to Denver and lost 27-2. They still won 11 games. Now, I understand. It doesn't matter. You got to win a championship. It's Titletown. I understand all that. I'm just trying to remind you that what occurred tonight, as far as the season goes, doesn't mean anything. It means absolutely nothing. There's lots for them to work on. There's a whole lot of tape for them to pour over and say, wow, we really need to get better and more consistent in a lot of different areas. Of that, we can agree. What's going on, everybody? I won't belabor everything too much. I know you guys got plenty to talk about, plenty of questions, plenty of comments. Let's get to your stuff here. Simitovich, what's going on, man? Thanks for the super chat. Well, at least the beer I had was cold. Hey, you know what? Shout out, man. Shout out. Good stuff. Good stuff. Right there with you, buddy. Joe Mailman, how are you? Thanks for being a Carry the G Club member. Thought Wooden and Kalen King helped themselves. Thought Heath and Hardman didn't. Monk rhymes with stunk. Yeah, really rough night from Monk. And I thought the second holding penalty that he got was, I mean, you talk about ticky-tack. The first one was totally legit, and I thought overall he had a pretty rough night. And yeah, the Hardman thing was wild. I mean, you talk about not even excelling in the one area that you really were counting on him to be the guy, namely your punt returner. If I wanted to see a dude watch the ball bounce in front of him, I'd just keep Jaden Reed back there. And I know Jaden Reed did not participate tonight, but that was tough. That was tough to watch. And then catching it looked like a 4-yard line on the punt previous. I don't know, man. Felt tight. Felt very tight. And then I don't think he helped himself from scrimmage either. And as you indicate, yes, Heath as well. That drop in the flat, it's a classic. Worried about getting hit, turning your head, trying to make a play before you secure the ball. He knew that defender was right there, but man, you got to catch that, and then you got to go punish that defender. Yeah, that was tough. And I mean, you talk about Heath. I mean, he just contributed to a brutal stat line from Jordan Love. 1 of 5 for 7 yards and a quarterback rating of 39.6. I believe of those 5, though, 4 of them basically were catchable balls. You know, the one missed to Musgrave was tough. He's got to hit that. He's got to put a ton of mustard on that and make a laser throw, not try and lollipop it over the middle there. As you saw, both safeties converged on the tight end because they had the time, because the ball was so much air under it. If he just rifles that thing down the seam, he's got a shot. But again, you know, preseason for everybody, working it all out. Danny G, what's going on, man? Thanks for the super chat. Sweet, merciful Lord. I'm glad that's over. Matt LaFleur dusting off all those cliche responses, starting with his halftime interview. Clean it up. Yeah, Danny, I saw some quotes from the halftime interview. I didn't see the interview itself, but yeah, it's hard. I mean, I saw the one quote I did see was, you know, we're not playing. It doesn't look like they're playing very inspired football. Okay. It's your job as the head coach to inspire them. I don't know, whatever tactic was used prior to kickoff didn't seem to work. Let's say that. Ken, what's going on, man? Thanks for being a Care of the G Club member, a Patreon member, and for the super chat. Rough game, but Belton road grading was fun to see. I thought, you know, you can see what they like about him in that game. To your point, there are certainly a couple of snaps there where I thought he did, you know, move the line of scrimmage, and you certainly get excited by his physicality. Now, had a penalty, had a couple, you know, spots where he got beat off the ball, but on balance, I agree, man. I think it's promising. You can see what they like about him. No doubt about it. I mean, he's still raw. Steno talked about it, 2 weeks ago? Whole lot to work on there, but yes, very, very, very promising stuff. Hanson, thanks again. D. Jennings really struggled. Yeah, I think there were like 2 plays that I saw where he got a good kind of firing off the ball, because that's the other thing. By the time he was in there, they were just in run city, you know. But yeah, there were certainly some rough moments, including the penalty. Ken, thanks again. Too many drops, like seeing ghosts from 24. Yeah, well, that's precisely what I was talking about there at the top. It's really hard to get excited when you can't extend drives and even really operate on offense because you keep dropping the ball and you're not extending drives. You're not giving yourself opportunities. Even forget about scoring a touchdown, but just getting into field goal range and putting points on the board. It was tough, no doubt about it. Ty, what's up, man? You could really tell the game was moving way too fast for the rookies. No excuses for the year 2 wide receivers. Stone hands, tragic display. I mean, sure, I feel you there, but I also think, you know, there were some really nice performances. I thought Micah Robinson was, you know, showing up, and Nazir Stackhouse, as I mentioned before. Baron Sorrell, I thought, played pretty darn well. Colby Wooden, you know, he's not a young guy now, but thought he handled himself pretty well. But yeah, it's going to be a work in progress. You know, as far as the stone hands, that's one of the reasons they drafted Matthew Golden, and you saw that on the 3rd down on that first drive. I mean, he snags that thing and puts it away and converts, and that's what you need, right? Especially this group that has had problems with drops and continue to have them tonight. Golden should be a bit of a godsend in that regard. Another guy that hopefully Jordan can start like really looking for on 3rd downs, as he did in that first drive. Aileen, what's up? I've seen enough. Elgersma is QB3. Kid's got a rocket launcher. Well, it's weird because I thought, he was, you know, given more opportunities to go downfield to really, as far as the play calling was when Clifford was in there, it seemed like they were very run heavy, trying to shorten that game and get the hell out of there. But yeah, no, the tools are undeniable, right? You can see the arm strength. I think he drives the ball really well. You saw that on a number of plays there at the end. They'll go the distance, right? They'll have these 2 joint practices and 2 more preseason games. He's got an opportunity. There's no doubt about that, but still think there's a ways to go. P.F. Smith, I like this. D was bad. Well, the D was very vanilla for a lot of that. It's funny too, because even in the first drive, like they were calling some stuff, but man, even, that first kind of blush of, I want to say 20 plays, they were in their playbook a little bit, but after that, it was all very, very like by rote vanilla, straight up. We've got either cover 3 or cover some shell of 2 high, right? And that was like, I want to say 60% of the game. So it's hard. You definitely want to see a lot more kind of physicality from the defense. That to me was the more disappointing aspect, is not so much like, yeah, they gave up some receptions, and yes, they got the Jets behind the sticks a couple of times, but seemingly just left the door wide open for them to pick up a 2nd and 18, what have you. But, it's just the lack of physicality, and the fact that, okay, it's your first live action of the year, and it looked it, and it goes back to what we talk about all the time. Clearly it's a different type of program than Aaron Glenn and the Jets are running. Man, they got some tacklers over there. The Packers, it's few and far between on that roster who are genuinely guys who relish tackling and the contact aspect of the game. A lot of guys throwing themselves at the ball carrier's feet. Saw that from Isaiah Simmons a number of times tonight. It's just night and day. Now, it will get better. They will clean a lot of that up, and it will look much different come week 1. But tonight, yeah, it was hard to watch. No doubt about it. What else we got here, folks? I don't want to miss any super chats. Get in trouble when I do that. Soder, what's going on, man? Wait, where are you? I just saw Soder. There he is. What's going on, man? Thanks for the super chat. God love you for doing this. Nothing positive to say. Please find something positive to say. Hey, man, Matthew Golden looked great. Come on, that's an easy one. Christian Welch looked good. I really hope he has an opportunity to make the squad this year, because he looked good in preseason last year and didn't make it. Nazir Stackhouse stuffed a big 4th down attempt by the Jets on their second drive. Those starters are still in there at that point. Like there were positives. You just got to get out of your Eeyore mode to notice them. I get it. On balance, the night was hard to watch. I'm not sitting here telling you that, don't trust your lying eyes, because God knows, man. Thank God the Brewers were around at the same time. Let's just say that. Caleb Williams is here. What's up? Thanks to the super chat. Any word on Reed's injury and how bad it is? We never really get kind of updates on severity during the preseason unless it is super serious. He missed that practice on, what was it, Thursday? Yeah, with a foot injury. And I know he didn't go tonight. I have no doubt that Matt will be asked about that probably on Tuesday, if not tonight, while he's doing his post game, although I doubt that'll happen this evening. But I think Tuesday we'll have a better idea. But there's been no reporting around it. Certainly they haven't talked about it. So no word yet is essentially where we're at with Reed. Soder, thanks again, man. Team needs to figure out who they are quickly and lean into that. This was the type of game that a team that has no idea who they are plays. No, we talked about this on Happy Hour, man. I mean, sure, you can look for narratives and identity and all of that, but to my way of thinking and recollections throughout the 50 years of watching football, that stuff happens over a course of time. It is not, yes, certainly there are things you want to emphasize as a coaching staff, right? But the best teams, the better teams, they don't come out of the gate knowing who they are and knowing what they're best at. Yes, they have ideas of what they want to accomplish and try to do, but I mean, look at the Eagles last year. They did not start the season like all gangbusters, but they found their identity as that season wore on, and they were an unstoppable machine essentially at the end of the season. I get it. I understand the idea of wanting to know what they're going to be like, but you're not going to know that in on August, whatever it is, 9th. That's just a long way of saying a lot of ball game left. Whole lot of ball game left, Soder. Watch every day. Thank you so much, Mitch, on Twitch. Appreciate it. Matt, yeah, you're not wrong, man. Does it seem like Matt's teams have the knock of being chronic slow starters? I get all's well that ends well, and I love this team no matter what, but it just seems like after 5+ years, it's a trend. And what's interesting is I think Matt kind of acknowledges that. He mentioned it at the podium the other day when he talked about playing the guys in the first part, playing the starters in tonight's game because of the fact, and these were his words, we got our ass kicked, coming out of the gate in those preseason games where no one played. So I think conceptually, maybe he has like a concept of what he wants to do to combat that. But you're not wrong, man. The evidence is right there. They do not start quickly, start hot, what have you, since like 2020, really. So yeah, I'm not dismissing that. And I don't know if you're a coach, how do you combat that? It's tricky because, I understand that there are maybe more avenues to explore as far as being a more hard ass coach or whatever, or trying to I don't know, emphasize different things, but I got to suspect Matt and his staff have talked about that repeatedly throughout the years, right? And for whatever reason, it certainly seems that they do kind of stumble out the gate, spend about a month finding themselves, and then essentially hit on something and hit on whatever it is they're going to be. And then they start growing throughout the season. And hopefully you get to what you saw in 2023 and you hit your stride there in November and December, unlike last year where you kind of hit your stride in the middle of the year. And then it all kind of fell apart those last 3 weeks. Let's see what we got here. So Magic Man to Sharp, love to Golden. I like it. I like it, man. There you go. Yeah, but then we watch good teams play good right from the first preseason game. We are evidently not in that class. You mean like the 0-16 Lions who went 4-0? Dog, I'm begging you to stop caring about the outcomes of preseason games. I understand wanting a better display and a better performance, certainly. Pointing out who played well or who played poorly, completely in bounds. But the results of preseason games, it doesn't matter. It matters less than the pixels this video is being printed with. Sasha Collins, what's up? Just remember, it's preseason game 1. Just enjoy. I mean, I don't know. I'm with you for that first part, but then you say just enjoy. It's hard to enjoy that. Like, that's what I get. I understand fans being frustrated by that performance, right? I mean, I enjoyed Amar Johnson bouncing off of that defender, cutting back across the grain, running into the end, diving into the end zone for the only Packers touchdown of the evening, and then having what could possibly be the most hilarious Lambeau leap since John Kuhn. So to me, that was a fun part of the night. I'll latch on to that. Oh, here we go. There's some big Green Bay football news. Congratulations to the Green Bay Blizzard and their 71-64 win over the Quad City Steamwheelers. Good luck against the Nighthawks. Go Pack Go. There you go. Big playoff win in Green Bay. I like it. Or from Green Bay. I'm sorry. I'm going to destroy your handle here. Shisuke. Thanks for the super chat. I'm back. Go Pack Go. How has Heath looked in camp prior to tonight? Amar Johnson really liked his physicality in the fourth. Go Pocket Pancakes too. Nice. Heath's had a bit of a quiet camp. I thought he looked physical as he always does in the run game. But as far as like in the passing game, his opportunities have been pretty few and far between, but he's made some nice catches, as he usually does, right? But yeah, tonight was a tough one. Tonight was a tough one for him. As far as Amar Johnson, what's so nice about seeing him out there is that he missed a pretty decent swath of time at the first part of camp. You know, he started on PUP, and he didn't get out there, I don't think, for the first week. So it's nice to see him getting that opportunity because, man, you can see the burst. That was great. And the way he could, I mean, he's not shy about contact either. He ran through some attempted tackles tonight, which is very, very nice. And look, when you got both Marshawn Lloyd and Emmanuel Wilson on the shelf right now, anyway, these are the opportunities, right? This is where Amar Johnson can make a case. Now, got a couple more joint practices, couple more games preseason wise to go, and hopefully he gets in some of those situations where maybe there's heavy pressure and he can utilize or show people, yeah, I can step up. I can sort through the protection plan and I know who I got and I can stone that dude, because that's the kind of thing that's going to get him at least a chance of making the roster. Now, we're a ways away. Who knows when Wilson or Lynch get back out there, or Lloyd, sorry. But it's just a really nice first step for Amar. No question about it. Jim, Clifford did throw a good block tonight. I mean, look at the hustle. Quarterback way downfield, like 40 yards downfield. I like it. Patrick, it's so funny you say this. I thought this exact same thing tonight. Brewers had an 0-4 start this year. Just saying. I thought the exact same thing probably in the middle of the second quarter. Man, that was like, you know, the Jets came in with their big barrel bats. You know, that I 100 billion% thought that exact thing this evening. Man, it don't matter. The preseason games, they just do not mean anything. But we'll see. Jason, how you doing, man? Thanks for the super chat. How are Dobbs and Wicks dropping passes a fifth grader can catch? Okay, relax. What have they been doing for 2 weeks in practice? I'm totally frustrated with the same issues not being corrected. Well, first of all, Wicks didn't play, so it was tough for him to drop anything tonight. Dobbs certainly should have caught, I thought, both of his kind of opportunities there underneath. I don't, want to sit here and say, the coaches are going to emphasize what they emphasize. And there's no way coming off of last year that catching the fucking ball hasn't been emphasized. At some point, a player is just who he is. And if you continue to drop the ball, you got to be able to, or someone else has to be able to come in and take your place and be more productive. Maybe that's Matthew Golden. That's partly why he was drafted, because he can catch the fucking ball. At the same time, man, talking about Dobbs, who last year was pretty sure-handed. It's not like he was Wicks or Reed. Those guys had some pretty significant drops last year. Dobbs had a tough night, no doubt about it. Now, he was going against Sauce Gardner for a lot of the night, which I found an interesting kind of matchup as far as, hey, yeah, let's throw slants at Sauce Gardner. Like, okay, sure, why not? Iron sharpens iron, maybe. It's an interesting tactic. Soder, what's going on? Got more out of the D-line. I did not see that. I think the second guys, the twos, I thought they played pretty damn well. The ones, pretty quiet. But again, it's preseason. I ain't getting crazy about it. But they were pretty quiet. Chris, what's up? Thanks for the super chat. Only sending this to have a drink with you, Aaron. Hey, man. Salud. I feel you, brother. I feel you. Let's see what. Peter, you ain't wrong, man. The Jets dominated in the trenches, men versus boys out there. Certainly, when you're talking about like the frontline guys, they most certainly did. And look, a lot of the problems the Packers had up front were technique driven. There wasn't so much like, oh, this team was so much more physical or stronger or whatever. A lot of that, you just need to clean up your technique. I mean, you saw how many fucking holding calls that they had throughout the night. It's something they can clean up. They have to do it post haste, but the Jets played way better up front for much of the game. Carey. Nags, why not let Mr. Canada throw at the end of the game, not hand off? What a play call. I mean, he did. He threw how many passes? He threw 4 passes. And that's the same amount of passes Sean Clifford had. That's one less pass than Jordan Love had. I mean, you're trying to get reps for all your guys, but as far as the play call goes, essentially, you're a coach and you're trying to see lots of different things. You're juggling a million different dudes coming in and out of the lineup. Who knows what they're working on as far as what combination of offensive line, and maybe they're trying to work on this run play, etc. What they want to see in that instance, you don't really know, right? But I will say there were a whole lot of running plays in the second half where it felt like, because Stenovich is the one calling plays in the game. Matt said that he's not calling these games. It really did feel, whether it was Steno or Vrabel or whoever, there was a lot of running plays where it felt like, okay, let's shorten this game and get the hell out of here. Let me see here. Matt LaFleur coming out unprepared means nothing? Don't agree with your police work. Dog, they lost out in Denver 27-2 last year, and they won 11 football games on the season. The results mean nothing. And it's not unprepared. They were inconsistent tonight. No doubt about it. They played poorly. They did not lean into their fundamentals. Hell, their fundamentals went to hell in a live situation. That doesn't mean they weren't prepared. Doesn't mean they haven't been practicing for the last 2 weeks out there at Radnitsky Field, or else what the hell was I doing in Green Bay? This idea that they're not prepared, it's silly. Dog, no one is more prepared than an NFL coach in any NFL city. Now, what they're teaching or what they're emphasizing, maybe it's more effective than in other places, or maybe there's things they need to massage as far as their messaging goes. But I promise you, they're prepared. They didn't go through the week and go, you know what? Fuck it. Just call whatever you want. Let's just play however, whatever we want to do. Let's just do it. They were prepared. They just didn't play very well at all. Jory, you're not wrong there. Fields is very good, but we have a habit of making him look better than he is. I think very good is doing a lot of work there. He's talented, and he's probably better than most people give him credit for. But he certainly played well tonight, like against what the Packers were doing. He was smart to take the checkdowns. They were giving lots of fucking easy looks underneath, lots of bail where they had, kind of cloud coverage, real easy completions available to him, whether it was a wide receiver coming and sitting down, whether it was a back out of the, slipping out of the backfield. But it was very easy completions. And then using his legs, which is what he's good at, which is the forte of his game. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. I think he's better than most people give him credit for, and he certainly took what the defense gave him tonight. Dobbs is who he is. Time to cut the cord. God, you guys kill me. Dobbs had more first downs on third down last year than any other Packer. He had a rough night tonight on, 10 snaps? You don't cut him. I'm begging you to take a breath. Brody, what's going on, man? Thanks for Super Chat. Season over. Just kidding. Most likely Packer to hit 10-plus sacks. I'll go Edgerrin Cooper. I think they're going to blitz the hell out of him this year and utilize that athleticism and that explosiveness that we all love. And they're going to unleash him in that regard. That's guesswork, obviously, but that would be my guess. Soder, thanks again, man. Thanks for doing what you do. Tonight hurt, but it meant nothing beyond me being Eeyore. Go, Pack, go. Packers might be soft. See, you couldn't even do that. You were like, I'm going to give some perspective. I'm going to go, Pack, go. Packers are soft. Like, you couldn't even give that one little just note of grace where you're like, you know what, tough night, but, we'll get them next week or whatever. Had to throw in the Packers are soft. And look, compared to how the Jets played tonight, yeah, they were. They certainly looked like the softer team between the two. No doubt about it. Now, will that permeate throughout the season? We'll see. I tend to doubt it, but we'll see. Real. One crappy completion for Love. Yeah, and 4 others that hit the receivers either in the hands or on their body. Like, I don't know what else you guys need Jordan to do. I understand it's disappointing. I understand it's frustrating, but man, there is context to this. The good news is we can only get better. There you go. Oh, wow. What a pull, Adam. Monk was out there doing his best Alan Barber impression. Woo, baby, that's a pull. Well done. Yeah, like I said at the top, man, I really liked Monk last summer, and I was really hoping like he would take a step this year, but it's not been a particularly noteworthy camp so far, and tonight was rough. And I know, like I said, that second holding call was pretty ticky-tack, but yeah, it was certainly hard to watch at times tonight, no doubt about it. Let's see, else we go. Nick, thanks to Super Chat, man. I never thought I'd ever say burn the tape in regards to a preseason game, but here we are. Well, here's the fun part. Some of us get to go and rewatch it, probably tonight. God help me. I need help. Menace, what's going on, man? Thanks for the Super Chat. I'm with you, Nags. It's preseason, but I get those who are overreacting. Lots of last few weeks of the season's issues carried over to week 1 of the preseason, but it's preseason, so we'll see. That's why I understand. That's why I understand the frustrations and people really somewhat overreacting to what they watched tonight, because it was reminiscent of all the issues we saw at the end of last year. The through line is certainly there if you're just completely putting this puzzle piece and that puzzle piece and putting them together and being like, oh, same team. I think obviously it's incumbent upon LaFleur and his staff to make sure that these guys are learning from this, every bit of this, and that is their charge. But I'm not worried. I'm not worried about this team whatsoever. But we will not overreact to preseason. I repeat over and over in my padded cell. Yeah, it's one way to go about it. Brian Price, thanks for the Super Chat, man. If they would have ran a fullback wheel route, the results would have been different. You're not wrong, man. I've been calling for it for years. Oshkis, thanks again, man. Who's your favorite Brewers player this year? The Osh is pronounced like Oshkosh, by the way. Oshkis. There we go. Hope our demon magic rubs off on the pack. Yeah, they got to send some of that up 43, right? Favorite Brewers player this year? That's a long-ass list, man. Probably Sal Frelick. Summer of Sal, baby. I love that guy. Smiling Beagle, what's going on? Thanks for the Super Chat. I didn't get to watch the ones tonight. Did they look as bad as the relations? Was somebody having relations at the game tonight that I'm unaware of? Do they look as bad? It's never as bad as you think it is, and it's never as good as you think it is. You got to go back and watch. They certainly did not play well. Let's say that. And they certainly weren't near consistent enough in any aspect. So I think that should answer your question. Bill Brasky, thanks for the Super Chat, man. I actually think it's smart that we lathered the wide receivers' gloves in butter. Makes the wide receivers focus better for the regular season. Go Pack, go. Bill is on the case. Soder, what's going on, man? What hurt tonight was Cooper did not show up. Yeah, because Cooper was dropping into like really easy zones and not being asked to do a whole lot. I mean, other than read and react. Just let them game plan. Let them work an actual, counter to what they expect the offense to run, rather than just calling lots of random, seemingly really kind of traditional zone looks and asking him to run after guys. That's not what he's going to be asked to do this year. Too short? It's a very good question. What makes a team click after a slow start? I suspect, and look, I've never been on an NFL team. Certainly I've never coached for an NFL team. This is just total guesswork, but I would suspect it's different from year to year. Rodgers used to joke about a galvanizing moment, and maybe there is something to that. There probably is, as far as that one moment in a season where not necessarily everything clicks, but people kind of lock in to, well, I believe that's what the kids say. But man, it's ephemeral. It's hard to pinpoint. And occasionally, maybe it is a certain game or even a certain series where guys just kind of start to work consistently together. And that's the biggest component, right? You got a lot of talent on this team, a whole lot of talent. You certainly didn't see them working well together tonight. Saw some flashes, some moments, whether it was on special teams coverage. Christian Welsh there, that first punt, really good job. Nazir Stackhouse on that fourth down stop. I thought Kalen King had a great play where he was caught in what you would call no man's land. Quarterback's outside the pocket. He's covering his guy towards the sideline. It looked like the quarterback could make an easy run for a first down. The quarterback definitely thought so. And King peeled off at just the right time, so there couldn't be a throw, and made the tackle to bring up a fourth down. Some good individual moments. But as far as a cohesive unit playing together and playing very high-level, consistent football, certainly didn't see any of that tonight. And that's where you got to get that click. Now, how you get there, man, that's a mystery. Jake, what's up, man? People are losing their mind over a preseason game. Guys will develop and will be more healthy and have more guys come week one and no more basic stuff. Go Pack, go. You're not wrong, man. I agree with almost all of that. I mean, they did have a number of dudes out tonight, no doubt about it, but that should give other guys opportunities to step up and to perform and make things tougher for the coaching staff when it comes to cut down time. That's what you're hoping for. I mean, Malik Heath, McCole Hardman, you're battling for probably one spot, and neither one of you covered yourself in glory tonight. Hard to sit there as a personnel evaluator and say, well, this guy is definitely like bringing the goods and wants, there's going to be making it hard to cut him. Neither of those guys did that tonight. Michael, Monk was my man. Not anymore. I feel you, brother. I feel you. Mario, thanks for the super chat. Receivers got to catch, got to help out your quarterback drops. Are such a momentum killer. They really are. I talked about it a little earlier. That's what's so frustrating from the standpoint of you can't get anything going and you keep killing the potential for building on something. Even if it's just picking up a couple first downs, getting into a groove offensively. They couldn't even do that because they kept dropping the fucking ball. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Joe, thanks again, man. Did we get points of emphasis with holding calls? Not really. I think, it's hard for me to sit here and say, other than the second Monk call, because I did think that was ticky-tack. For the most part, I thought those were all legit calls. That was a Belton one that was so brutal where, I think it was Clifford, that deep shot up the right sideline. And Belton came out of his stance. Guy had a good first step, and he just essentially tried to choke him out. I thought, like I said, I thought most of those were pretty legit. Traveling, what's up, man? I actually agree with picking Love in the first round. I do dislike paying a guy for a good second half. I've been split on Love last year. Can we let him play a game with a good knee against Detroit? Just give me the Detroit game. Let's see how he looks there. That's all I'm asking. If we get past that Detroit game and you still got misgivings, we can talk. But, man, you're talking about a dude who threw 5 passes tonight. Let's relax. As far as paying him, they got out ahead of the market. Plenty of dudes have been paid since Jordan was paid. They paid the going rate. That's all that was. Johnson Matovich, you are 1 billion% correct. Just win week 1 and nobody will remember any of this. That is 1,000% true. Sasha, thanks again. Will they have joint practices these next 2 weeks? Yes, they will. They have a joint practice this upcoming week with the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis. I believe that's on Thursday, I want to say. They have a practice in Green Bay first on Tuesday. That's the 12th. That's at 10:30 a.m. at Ray Nitschke. And then they leave for Indianapolis, and then they have that joint practice with the Colts, then the preseason game with the Colts, and then they're back to Ray Nitschke the following week, and they have a joint practice later that week with the Seahawks prior to the game against the Seahawks in Lambeau. So there are 2 joint practices coming up. What else we got here, folks? There we go. Great. Legit, you are the Packer fan counselor. I don't know about all that, but, I say it all the time. And if I know it especially to the younger set, it feels like I'm making excuses because I always am kind of saying the same shit. But it's like, man, I've been watching this sport since I was 3 years old, when my first time ever at Lambeau Field. There are certainly things that you glom onto and you recognize and you start to see again and again and again and again and again, where, yeah, like 10 years ago, even, let alone 20 years ago, tonight would have fucking made me lose my mind. I'd have been depressed all week. Now I'm like, shitty night. They played poorly. Got to get better. Lots to work on. And that's it. Because that's what that is. And you know how I know that? Because I've seen this a million times. That's it. Soder, what's up, man? Nothing about this team made me say, hell yeah, tonight. Please get better. Catch the damn ball was the first thing that made me sad. I mean, catch the ball. If they catch all the balls they dropped tonight, you would have felt infinitely better about this game and performance. Even with all the holding calls, even with the problems on defense, even with the special teams snafus, they catch all the simplest thing. Just catch the ball. They do that tonight, you feel a lot better about this game. I promise you. So yeah, catch the ball. All right, everybody, I'm going to have to get going. Cannot thank you enough for hanging out after that abysmal preseason performance from the Green Bay Packers. Fret not. Lots to work on. Means they will be working on a lot. And we'll see improvement. I guarantee that. Now, we're going to be back here talking about everything in a couple days. Obviously, not tomorrow, but we'll be back on Monday. It's going to be very interesting to see what Matt LaFleur and the coaches talk about tomorrow, because we do get LaFleur in the afternoon and then all of the assistants, coordinators, and position guys. Very interesting tactic by Packers PR to have those guys talk the day after a game. But that's what we're going to get. And a real chance for the beat to kind of do some drill down stuff on all the positions with all these position coaches. So that's something to look out for as far as quotes coming out of 1265 tomorrow. And then I'll be back here chatting with you guys on Monday. I really appreciate each and everyone showing up tonight, even after, like I said, what was a very hard game to watch as a Packers fan. A lot of ball game left. We'll be back, like I said, on Monday for daily, but certainly we'll be back here after the Colts game doing a post game. Hopefully we're in much better spirits after that one. All right, buddy, I got to get going. Thank you so much. Please do me a monster favor. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Go Pack Go.